Alright, so today we're going to get ready for the grammar and vocabulary test that you have tomorrow. One of the most important aspects of it is that you know how to use the words that you were taught. You will receive a sheet with a test, but you will also receive a sheet that looks like this with the words and the definitions. The words will be written in English and the definitions will be in Norwegian. You do not need to memorize those or write the definitions in Norwegian on the test. That is not the objective of it. What you need to do is be able to use those sentences in those words in sentences. So let me give you some examples of the types of exercises you will have on this test. For those of you who are not in yet, anybody can log in using their Gmail account. And if you go to the channel, there will be a video. If you scroll down long enough, you'll see a video with a live sticker right under it. Let me just give you an example. This is one that's not up yet, but then when you go in here, you can type in the chat. If you don't have a YouTube account, you don't need to have videos on it or anything, just a regular account so that you can type directly in there, because I'll be asking you questions and then I'll look at the chat to see your name and where you responded. I don't have a famous YouTube channel, so it's a very private chat. There's only going to be you in there typing in, and maybe a couple of other students from the school if they see that there's something on the channel. But just type in there. When I ask questions, you will type the answers in there. If you try and you can't, then take a piece of paper, write everything on a piece of paper as you watch this. You should have your headphones and you should have your computers open so that you can do this. But if somebody can set up the smartboard with the video as well, in case someone doesn't have access to the video and can't listen to it, that's also an option. Let's get started with this. It's very important. Your test is tomorrow. So let's take a look at some of the examples. Let us take, for example, the word elderly. I'm not going to ask you, oh, what does elderly mean in our region? That's not how it's going to be presented to you on the test. It's going to be something like this. I'll give you an example. Jason is only 35, but he's dating Anne. So here you have two words. Two words from your list. The word elderly is one, and the word scandalous is another one. Scandalous is also on your list. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, type in the chat which one of those options you would have chosen. Just type in chat. Those of you who tried and couldn't get into the chat box, write it on a piece of paper. Just write number 1 and then the word. And then you take a picture of that piece of paper and you can send it to me. There's no excuse for not submitting this because you can find me very easily. You have my email accounts, you have Canvas, the platform from school, and some of you send stuff to me on Messenger when you can't access the school platform, so go ahead. So those of you who wrote elderly, you were correct. There are a couple of hints that this is the right word. First of all, you have the word scandalous, which grammatically could fit right before the word woman because it is an adjective. Elderly here is an adjective, even though it ends in ly. And scandalous is also an adjective. But we've been talking about the article a and an. And the article an elderly woman. It precedes a vowel sound. We talked about this. You have learned this perhaps in first or second grade. The first time you were exposed to this type of grammar. But we've been talking about it recently as well. So let me give you more examples and you'll fill in. Type in chat. If you can't type in chat, then write on a piece of paper. But most of you should be able to. Next sentence. And now I'm going to give you a sentence where you have to choose between an adjective and an adverb. The sentence is, Marianne is an athlete. Therefore, she can run blank. And then you have two words. Here is an adjective, quick, and here's an adverb, quickly. Please type in chat or write on a piece of paper. I would prefer that you type in the chat because later on I can look at the chat replay and I can see who was participating, because you're not supposed to be playing superstar music, whatever it is that's called, or Minecraft while this is on. You're supposed to be in the chat box paying attention and participating. Marianne is an athlete, therefore she can run. Then you have two options there, quick or quickly. Which one is the correct one? We talked about this quite a bit. So quick is an adjective. Let me give you some examples here. Michael is a quick runner. So here I'm using quick as an adjective. What kind of runner is he? He's a quick runner. What is he? How is he? He's a quick runner. So that's what somebody is, or how somebody is. That's an adjective. And it's the same in Norwegian too, when you use adjectives. The only problem, it's not really a problem, but the difference between Norwegian and English is that in English, you have different words for adjectives and adverbs. And in Norwegian, you have the same word that functions as both an adjective and an adverb. So let me write this sentence here, a sentence in Norwegian for you to look at. Two sentences. In the first one, I'm going to use an adjective. Here's your adjective. So I'm talking about the food, that the food was bad. So in Norwegian, the word for bad is the word in yellow that I just put up there. And now here's the adverb. Just 1 second. I'm going to remove the yellow so you can take a look at it. So the same word means bad and also badly. How something was done. How something was done is the adverb. But in Norwegian, it's the same word for how something was done and for how something was. So that can create some difficulty for people who are learning English adverbs and English adjectives, because we have different words in English, and in Norwegian, oftentimes you have the same word. So here, when I talk about Marianne being an athlete and how she's a quick runner, how does she run? She runs quickly. That's how she runs. She can run quickly. So that's the adverb. And the word adverb has something to do with something that modifies, that changes the verb, that changes the action that you're performing. In this case, you're running. She can run quickly. Let's take a few more. I'm going to put 2 words as options for you to choose, and please type in chat. So I am giving you 2 words to fill in. You choose one that best fits with the situation. So the President of the United States has to be, or must be, and you have 2 words there: success and the word reliable. Please type in chat which word you think best fills in the sentence and completes the sentence to give it meaning. This is the type of activity that you will have to do for your test tomorrow. You will actually have this type of sentence for you to pick which word fits best. That's one type of that's not the only type, that's one of the types of exercises too. Right. So let's examine these words now. Most of you probably wrote the correct word. So let's take a look at the word success first. Having success in life is a goal for many people. So you can have success or you can achieve success, right? That is a noun. Success is a noun in Norwegian substantive. You can also say the following sentence. You need to study in order to be successful. Successful is an adjective. I know that a lot of people will say, oh, this stuff is not important. Why do I need to know the names of these things? Well, you need to know them now for high school. And if you go on to study academic English, you will need to know them. But in practical terms, then you won't need to worry about this in the future. But right now, it is very important for you to know this. I don't allow Grammarly on my tests. I don't allow Google Translate. So you have to know a lot of this by heart. I will give you a list of the words with the definitions. I have no problem with that, but you can't use Grammarly. That's a big no-no for my classes. So having this in mind, you also have the word reliable. And those of you who have been playing a lot of match, test, and learn and all of those tests on Quizlet, you will remember that the word reliable is this word in Norwegian. So, which word did you choose for that? The President of the United States has to be. So I'm guessing that most of you typed reliable, and that's the correct one. All right. So this is one type of exercise you'll have on the test. I'll also give you a list of words. So there are 30 items on the actual list that you got from me. And they will all be in the test under different capacity. For example, in this second part, you will have a few words, for instance. Let me grab a few more. Okay. So there are 5 words there. Look, I spelled it in British English. And the squiggly line underneath appeared because this document is actually set to be spelled in American English. But when I remove this, the squiggly line goes away because now it's written in American English. So perhaps you have a sentence like this. So I'm going to put the sentences there. Number 1, we blank. A lot of people in the house for the party. And you have the words elderly, scandalous, censorship, gathered, and rumors. Which one would you choose? Please type in chat or write on your piece of paper that you're going to take a picture of and send to me later. We, a lot of people in the house for the party. I'm hoping that everyone has typed the correct word. Gathered is the correct word. So now what happens is, if you cross out the words that you have already used in this type of exercise, you will get through it way more easily than you would if you didn't. Because once you cross them out, then you know it's already been used and you move on to the next one. Okay, the next sentence is, so here, the blank about her were circling all over town. So you have already used gathered, so you can't use it again. And you only have 4 options there: scandalous, elderly, censorship, and rumors. Please type in chat which of these words best fills this sentence. So those of you who picked the word rumors, you picked the correct word. And of course, I won't take away points from anybody if they decide to write everything in British English, but then everything has to match. If you spell rumors with a U, you have to spell favor also with a U. You have to spell the word centre with C-E-N-T-R-E. You have to also use words like nappy for diaper. And you have to really match your whole set of writings with either British English or American English. You can't blend them. You can't use both of them together. You have to choose. And of course, both of them will be acceptable. But don't mix them. If you mix them, that's not good. That will not be acceptable. The next one, there is no blank in this country. Everyone is free to say what they want. So now you have 3 words left: scandalous, elderly, and censorship. Please type in chat which one of those 3 words you would have put in that sentence. The words are scandalous, elderly, and censorship. For those of you wondering, if you haven't heard yet, or if you don't remember, the text that will be covered in this vocabulary and grammar test that you're taking is fake news. Don't be fooled. Some of you have already worked on all of these sections here on the website for the book. Some of you haven't. You're welcome to use this to study as well, but that's not going to be the basis for the type of exercises that you will have. This will help you because it all deals with the same subject matter, and it also deals with the words that you're going to need, but the exercises will be like these that I'm giving you now. All right. The words were scandalous, elderly, censorship. Those of you who chose, there is no censorship in this country. Everyone is free to say what they want. That's the sentence. So if you chose that, censorship was the word. A lot of the words on the list, you have different, how do I put it? Words that come from the same family. Censor, to censor, and then censorship. All of those come from the same family. To censor, that's the verb form of it. And then you can conjugate the verb. To conjugate a verb, let me write this down here. To conjugate a verb means that in Norwegian. So, for instance, to censor, you can use it in a simple present and say, he censored parts of his speech. He censors, simple present, whenever he writes for other people. You can use it in the past tense. They censored a lot of that program last night. So a lot of verbs in the past, they take the ed form, not all of them, just regular verbs. Irregular verbs are completely different. Does anybody know any irregular verbs? Please type one in chat as an example. I'll wait 30 seconds. If nobody types anything, then I will type something and I'll tell you. Okay. Regular verbs. Talk, walk. What else? Work, stop. Those are regular verbs. So what happens to those are we say we talked, we walked, he worked, they stopped. Those are regular verbs. Irregular verbs, for example, to drink. He drank wine last night. They had drunk a lot of water already. So drink, drank, drunk, the three forms of that verb. When with the verb talk, for example, I talked, I have talked, they had already talked about it. So you use talked for everything. So those are some of the examples that I had to give you. And this video will stay available to you on the channel, so you can go ahead and watch it again if you need to, take more notes. But it's very important that you also read the text again. Fake news. Don't be fooled. The chapter you will find it on is called Connections. It's the first chapter. And there are lots. It's one of the last texts in that chapter. I'm not so sure which page it is. I don't have a copy of that particular book with me at home. I brought this one home instead, accidentally. But you will find it. It's easy to find. So we have one more activity before you take your break. Tova is going to come in every few minutes to see if everyone is doing okay. If not, somebody else will come in from the staff. And what you should dedicate the rest of your time when you come back from the break to do is use the flashcards. Use the flashcards and make sure that you know the words. Use the test as well. And make sure, of course, that you work on the sentences.
Welcome to part
Okay,
2
this
of
is
today's class.
not what I was supposed to put in right now. If everyone could please grab your phones, or if you prefer to do Quizlet Live on your computer, it's okay. We're gonna start the game now. I'm gonna be typing in the code for you. We're gonna play individuals because it's easier to see what's going on with all of that. As soon as you see the code, you can go ahead and go in. There is a delay between what you're seeing right now and what I'm saying. So just go ahead and start as soon as you see the code. Alright, so everyone can take a break right now. And after the break, go ahead and work on Quizlet with the words. Feel free to work on your notes, or you can also go on the website for the book and do some exercises on there. I'll put a link to Skype, so I'll be available on Skype directly for people if they need me.